Alright everybody, today, Christmas Day, we're going to start Season 2 of The Mandalorian. I'm just going to start with the first episode, The Marshal, Chapter 9. Overall, I think it was a decent episode. It was a good start off anyways to the second season. It was it kind of started, Mando found well, these are spoilers too, so if you haven't watched season 1 season 2 chapter 9, don't watch any further. I can kind of give a brief summary of what happened. So basically, Mando showed up. He was trying to find someone knew something about bounty hunters. Finds this guy and fighting Gamorreans in an arena. Kind of really reminded me of Game of Thrones. Kind of one I wanted to say too is this show kind of reminds me of a Star Wars set, Game of Thrones, which is really interesting. Which is really interesting because Pedro Pascal, who also plays the Mandalorian, was in Game of Thrones. He actually faces off against the Mountain, the powerlifter, Half-Thor Bjornsson. But yeah, it starts off there, but it turns out this guy wants Mando's armor. As he said, he's like, those fancy Beskar shells are very pricey and they keep growing in value. So Mando has to take him down. He gets his information from him. He says he won't kill him, but he lets these other creatures kill him basically for him. He meets up with a older lady who he's met with in season 1. She's talking about how she misses this baby Yoda and whatnot. He goes to Tatooine, because that's where the bounty hunter is supposed to be. From there he meets Cad Bane. He's one of the bigger characters. When you first see Cad Bane, you're just like, what the heck? This is Boba Fett? But no, it's not Boba Fett, it's just somebody in Boba Fett's armor. It's kind of interesting where they kind of bring it in. It's like a western, the way they kind of introduce the scene. I kind of liked that, but sometimes it feels like the show is trying to do too many things. Like it's like a western, it's an anti-hero, and it's having a show about Grogu being cute. Sometimes it feels like it's trying to do too much, but they don't do one especially like right on the money. But anyways, yeah. I thought it was good introducing Cad Bane. I thought it was kind of neat knowing he has Boba Fett's armor. I kind of find it weird though that Boba Fett's waist was so high, like the armor plates. It felt like the chest plates were too high on it. But yeah, so they team up from there. With Tusken Raiders to take down this crate dragon. Mando wants Cad Bane's armor, what is Boba Fett's armor. So they take down this crate dragon with explosives, and then they finally kill it by Mando going inside the crate dragon's mouth. Yeah, he blows it up from the inside. But yeah, it was a pretty decent episode. It ended pretty good. But yeah, we figure out that Cad Bane got Boba Fett's armor by trading it with Silax crystals to Jawas. And he traded these Silax crystals because there's a mining colony that attacked his village. So he got Boba Fett's armor, came back to the town, liberated it with the Silax crystals. But yeah, it's kind of interesting to see Boba Fett's armor in actual fighting, because in the original trilogy we never really got to see too much Boba Fett's armor in action. We never see like the rangefinder and targeting missiles on his back and destroying anything. So in this you actually kind of get to see that the back missile in action. It's kind of neat 'cause it's basically a missile launcher on the back of his jetpack. I did like in this episode, however, they showed the sand trooper creatures. They had really good CGI on the sand trooper creatures, and Mando's relationship with the sand people. I kind of liked that dynamic. It was really neat. It kind of almost looked like it was where Attack of the Clones, where that it was filmed and all the Tatooine. So I like how I think they went to the original location. They must have, or just really good CGI. I didn't like, however, though, that when they were doing the backstory, none of their hair or anything was moving in the breeze when they're on the speeder bikes. It kind of took me out for some reason. I couldn't picture it, because it was like we'd never be able to hear Cad Bane talk to Mando when they're on the speeder bikes like that. Just wouldn't be realistic. I kind of got Dune vibes too from that, especially with the crate dragon, how they had those like sandworms and dunes and whatnot, and it was really neat. At the end, the pearl that they got from the crate dragon's like stomach and everything, that was a kind of neat dynamic. I know they didn't have to show that, but it was a nice nod off to the lore behind the crate dragon. Yeah. I kind of found it weird though, like when the battle of the crate dragon was starting, Mando had to use that little telescope. It makes no sense because he has like macro binoculars in his like armor setup, like with the rangefinder and everything already built in. So why wouldn't he just use that? That was kind of like an inaccuracy I found. He should have just used like a rangefinder or something rather than an actual device. Like, it's already built in his armor. I don't know why they thought they need something extra. And I think it seems like you're really starting to see more of George Lucas's hands in this. I think he has more leeway into this season than he did the first one. I think that's actually what's making it better. Because I do like the start off much better than the original season. It's kind of interesting though, when they were talking about how this crate dragon senses stuff from vibration, because they even burst that plot. They're like, oh, why don't you just take it out with starships? And they're like, oh well, no. Crate dragon can sense like the vibrations and stuff from ships overhead. So if it senses that, it just it goes back underground, just stays there. I found that kind of interesting how they expanded that. The bows and stuff like that the Tusken Raiders and the Village People were using were really kind of interesting. They reminded me of season 7 of Game of Thrones when they're trying to take down the dragons. What's her name? The queen. I can't remember her name right now, but yeah, she's trying to take down Targaryen princesses' dragons. They take out these big bows. It reminds me of exactly what that scene where they got the big bows out and they're trying to take down this huge crate dragon. Now the best part, if you haven't watched the episode, hopefully you're not watching this, but the Boba Fett reveal at the end, that was really kind of. I think this is where they had so much potential in this. The Boba Fett build up, and they show him Boba Fett. This is where it really caught my interest. I just love that part. I always wondered though how Baby Yoda's floating stroller works, like how it's controlled, like who's moving it? Is Mando moving it? Because it never looks like Mando's using anything in his hands. And talking about the opening scene too, we get to see Mando use a vibroblade. That was kind of neat. I think we've seen that before, but not too much. I did love the Mos Eisley feel of that cantina where he meets Cad Bane. And it's kind of ironic though that the Jawas kind of like gave Cad Bane the that the armor set because he was trying to get rid of this mining people who try to set up and kill the village or whatnot, take over the village. But the Jawa's vehicles are actually from a mining era long ago. We found that out in Star Wars: The Complete Visual Dictionary, which is really interesting. So it's kind of ironic that the Jawas they gave Cad Bane the armor and to take out these miners, but their vehicles are actually from the miners from an era long ago. Would be really interesting though. What I want to see Bosk introduced in some way, shape, or form. I would really like that. I think it'd make for a really cool. Because Bosk is a bounty hunter too, and I always thought he was kind of a neat character. You see him in the Clone Wars, the animated one. Yeah. So basically, sum it up. It was interesting, that's for sure. Let's see what else I was thinking of. I think that was it. So I'll give it a solid rating. I think the beginning of this season, I've watched all of season 2. Wait a little bit to let the hype die down. I don't want to be excited by hype. I want to be a clear mind when I'm assessing this. I don't want to be what everybody else is thinking. The beginning of this season was the strongest, I would say. I think the strengths lied in introducing Boba Fett, because Boba Fett is basically what everybody wants to see. But yeah, the strengths lied in introducing Boba Fett. So I give it. It's hard. I give it a 7.1 out of 10. Introduction is the best, and I it's not like I'm not being like, oh, a 7.1, that's terrible. 7, I always say like, probably like, I think Angry Joe says this too. I like watching his channel. But yeah, 5 is average. And an average Star Wars show, that's actually pretty good. But this is The Mandalorian. People sometimes play it up way more than it is. I do really love it. But I think this is what Star Wars should be, and I think this is the direction, the minimum we should at least expect from Star Wars, from going forward. Because like the trilogy that they did, Rian Johnson and Kathleen Kennedy, I really didn't like the trilogy that they came up with. That was borderline terrible. But this one, it actually feels like it's set in the same universe. So I do like this, but it's still a 7.1 out of 10, I would say. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'll just let the rest of this gameplay play out. We'll see you guys on episode, well, I guess, chapter 10, the next one. Alright, peace out.
Never been one for pomp and circumstance.
Don't worry, I got you.
don't mean to be a sore loser, but what the hell were you all doing out there?